There's no fire going on, but we're fired up to have Brian Rentsch in, the superintendent of Claymont Schools. Was that a good transition for you?
I appreciate that. I'm always fired up to come and speak to you.
Well, good. Thanks a lot. Hey, we had a good time at the ball game the other night, too, by the way, and didn't turn out the way we wanted with the score, but facilities are great, and it looks like everybody's kind of into the spirit.
We're into the spirit. Yeah, you're correct in that we didn't end up on the side that we wanted to. In the first half, we did move the ball pretty well. And we looked really good. As I was talking to Coach Henry this morning, it was the schoolyard plays that where we didn't make a tackle. We thought we had a sack, and next thing you know, it turns into a big gain. So we're hoping this week is a better week, and moving in with East Tech coming down from Cleveland. I
think they'll enjoy the turf and facilities. I don't know that they're going to enjoy the final score, though. So
they better not.
Well, it's good to have you in here. Let's talk about some things that have been kind of leading up to the school year. ESSER funds. What is that, and what finally was decided to do with those?
The ESSER funds was the American Relief Plan, a part of it that schools and businesses had received some money, and our district received it was around $4 or $5 million, and we were deciding what we were going to do with that last year. We had talked about expanding a building. Where the dust settled is we did a building realignment. We have our now it was Eastport is now our primary building, and it is preschool and kindergarten. Trenton Avenue is now the elementary, and it's first and second grade. The intermediate in Denison is grades 3, 4, and 5, and there was no impact with 6 through 12. Mm-hmm. 6 through 12 started last week, and then today was the first day for grades 1 through 5. So the buses were hopping this morning and listening to the radios this morning. They were saying which kid got where and who needed picked up still. And, we do the best we can to make sure everybody is where they need. We ask them to fill out their transportation forms prior to school starting. So hopefully if they do that, we have them all on the right bus and getting them to where they need to be.
Your transportation coordinator is very busy this time of the year.
That he is, and he also, he also oversees our kitchen, and so we had some things that you need to tackle in there, and also making sure that food is ordered, obviously for breakfast and lunch.
Yeah, that's so. Sure. And special trips with the sports teams, because fall's a busy season with lots of teams.
Yeah, I believe they first started the first week in August with, I believe, golf starts. And, they basically, golf gets 1 week of practice almost, and then they start matches. And then they're finished by the end of September. The shortest season of all, pretty much. Yeah. And, but yeah, he had to making sure their drivers to take them to their matches.
Well, let me evolve back, if we can, to the realignment of the buildings. I know that took kind of a long time, and it was involved with the money, but as it turns out now, are there satisfactory facilities for each individual building now to house who they're supposed to have at this point?
And I believe so. I believe the board made the correct decision on realigning and looking at making sure our preschool has an adequate space. They actually have a little more space now, and the schedule works really well for the rules and regulations of preschool. So the intermediate is a former high school. I mean, it's not built like for a grade level elementary, but I mean, it has housed elementary students in the past, so it is a good building for our 3 through 5. But when we didn't decide to add on, we decided where else were we going to spend our money. So we had some boiler projects for HVAC, and so we had some chiller things going on. So last year we had replaced 2 buildings, the middle school and the primary building. And then this year we did the elementary and then the intermediate. So those are huge ticket items whenever you're looking at boilers. I replaced a furnace, and it was a couple $1,000s. Well, these are a couple $100,000 to replace. So when you look at a roof, I could put a roof on for, say, $7,000 to $10,000 on my home. A roof at our facilities, depending on the size of the roof, could be a couple $100,000. Our roof at the high school was $1.3 million.
I was going to say, that's a pretty big roof there.
Yeah.
$1.3 million.
Yes.
But You got to have a roof and a boiler, or you can't have school.
Exactly. You don't have to have air conditioning, but we do have air conditioning in our buildings, and they work really well. Back with all the weather we've had some, back in June we had the major rains, and we had some water within the intermediate and the elementary buildings, and we said, well, it's not coming from the roof. We find out that it's a masonry work needs to be completed.
Okay.
So we're going to spend around $100,000 to fix some masonry work around windows, and hopefully that takes care of our issues with water getting in around windows, and hopefully when we pop some windows out to see that we don't have to do any window structures also, but things that you don't think of, but we're using those ESSER dollars to make sure that we can get those fixed also.
That's fortunate in a way that happened in June. You didn't have class. Here's water. You get time to take a look at it and make a fix. Are there still funds left, and what projections might you have for other improvements in the future?
There are some funds left, and we're taking a look at some of our entranceways in our buildings for safety purposes. We did receive a grant through the Governor DeWine's grant the first time, and we're not eligible because we had received a grant the first time. We can't get a grant the second time. But we upgraded camera systems at our high school. But we also need to upgrade our entranceways, because what we have currently is once someone is buzzed into our buildings, they have access to our buildings and they can roam. And we need to reconfigure those, that whenever someone comes in through our main entrance, there's a holding area that they can't go any further unless we open the door for them or some things. So that's where some of this majority of that other money is going to be remaining.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing of these times that we've got to have now. So.
Yeah, when new buildings are built today, they're built for security purposes, and when even our high school, even though it's relatively new, 20-some years old, it wasn't built with the security purposes that everyone thinks of today.
That's for sure. Anything else that the staff has had to acclimate themselves to, or is it just getting back into the groove at this point?
Well, it is getting back in the groove, but they're getting back in the groove with an new ELA, English Language Arts curriculum, and also math curriculum for our lower levels. So we did get that, and they were welcomed back to their rooms with all of this materials. So we do have some professional development coming for those. We had some previously at the end of the year, and we'll continue that. But just getting back in a groove and maybe setting the alarm a little earlier, and then on top of that, but honestly, our staff is very excited to be back. And you can see that just whenever you're talking with folks.
Yeah.
It's our custodians, even though they never left, they're happy to get back into their routine, which they worked very, very hard this summer to get our buildings with the realignment, the move with that, and then getting the buildings ready to go.
I'm sure they're relieved to be back on their regular schedule.
They are, and I saw some vacation requests here come through. So if they didn't take them during the summer, they're trying to now start taking them.
Very well deserved. Can you give us an estimate about how many staffers there are in all? I don't know if you have a precise number, but about.
Yeah, we have around 235 staff members in our district.
And how many new do you think this year?
New?
New to Claymont.
New to Claymont. We have probably about 6 to 8 new staff members. We have 2 new third grade teachers, and Haley Slats and Veronica Armstrong. We have an intervention specialist and Annette Buxton at the intermediate. We have Colin Clark. He's over at the middle school teaching computer. Madison Hemperly is at the high school with intervention specialist. We have Tim Mick and Anthony Scalabrino, our custodians. So I know I'm going to be missing some. I got a majority of them, but those are ones right off the top of my head was new. So they're excited to be here.
Appreciate that. How many years for you now?
Oh, we are heading in. This is my 4th year as superintendent, but we are heading into the over 30.
Aha.
I won't say.
That's just the way they count it for your retirement, right?
It's exactly right. So they'll just figure out. I would have to take off my my shoes and socks and my fingers and count, and then I'd have to use my grandson's fingers. So they would help me get up all the total numbers I have.
We'll have him hold up the 4 for the superintendent. How's that?
He can handle that.
Anything else you want anybody to know about Claymont as it currently stands right now?
I just think that we're in a good place where we are starting the year, and everyone's excited to be back to work. We have a great community, and they support their schools, and we want to do whatever we can to make our kids' life successful.
Good to be here in the Claymont community too. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you.
That is Brian Rentsch. He's the superintendent of Claymont Schools. We appreciate him visiting this morning on our 8:30 High Beam here on the BT Morning Show.